All right, we're in the office today because I want to talk about something. Today was a really difficult day. Started off really difficult and I learned a lot. So, there's a few things I want to talk to you about and I hope it helps. So, this morning I went to my friend's funeral and I'm not going to go into detail about that, but after it, obviously I was feeling a lot of emotions. I was feeling a lot of emotions and it was really a difficult drive. And then problems started coming up. Problems start coming up with the business, properties, etc., etc., like they normally do. And I felt myself getting extremely angry because I was angry about a few other things, but I was really emotional. And I found myself getting to a point I was like, you know what, fuck this, fuck all of this, and I've had enough. And then I had to really talk myself out of it. Now, why am I sharing that very undetailed, slightly short story? What I want to get across is when you're in property investment, there's going to be a million problems that come up. You're going to have a million problems come up, right? You're going to have like builders going over schedule. You're going to have solicitors going over schedule, estate agents not replying. I don't care. It's going to be a lot of things. You're going to have a lot of things come up. And you're going to get very emotional about it. You're going to be getting angrier and angrier and angrier and angrier and angrier. And sometimes you can go, fuck this. I've had enough. I've had enough. You know what? I do it like an angry voice note, an angry phone call, shout at people. What's going to happen is if you give in to that, you will make it worse. If you give in to this like demon in your head, you're going to make it worse and you can make it infinitely worse. You have two choices. When you're suffering, when you're going through a lot, you have two choices. Are you going to be a good person? Or are you going to be a bad person? Are you going to make the situation better or are you going to make it worse? The thing is, when it's better, you can make it a lot better in the sense that you can still be kind to people. You can still give people some grace. Not let people walk all over you. There's a fine line, but just, you know, not allow your emotions to take over. If you make it worse, it can be infinitely worse. You know, I was watching a Jordan Peterson speech and he was talking about how hell is a bottomless pit. And what that means is when you make things worse, it could be infinitely worse because you can always figure out a way to make it worse for yourself. For example, you can come back home and you can be angry and then you shout at the wife, you shout at the girlfriend, whatever. And then after a while, that leads to a breakup. That leads to a breakup, then it affects your work. When you affected your work, you're slacking there and then you end up getting warnings and then you end up getting fired. You get fired from there and then you eventually end up putting on weight and then God knows where it can go. Drugs, drink, prison, who knows? This isn't meant to be a dark video. It's meant to be a reality check. It's a reality check for me. I had a reality check today and I had the decision to make today. I had a lot of emotions. And because I had all of those emotions, I wanted to decide to make sure that I was going to stay a good person and remain a good person and not let my suffering affect people in a negative way because that's not what my friend would have wanted and it's not what I want. So you're going to come through a lot of moments like that. You're going to come through a lot of moments and it's about being conscious of them, about being aware of them, about being aware of, I feel shit right now. I feel angry right now. I feel upset right now. I feel stressed right now. I am suffering right now. And that's okay. However, what I will not let it do is make me into a bad person where I argue with everyone, take it out on people, and then make the business work, make all the projects worse, make the business worse, make all the projects worse, make my relationships worse, and make everything infinitely worse until it all goes to net zero and it's all gone. Why? Because you couldn't control your fucking emotions. When I lived in a studio and I was working part time, 25, 30 hours a week, and I was surrounded by people who were starting their own portfolios, they were raising finance, and I was going to these networking events and they were pulling up in their nice cars. For a while, I was frustrated at myself. I wasn't there yet. I was frustrated that I quit my job, failed, had to start working again, and then I was surrounded by all these people doing better than me. I was frustrated, jealous, envious, you name it. I was it. And I was happy for them, but I was angry for myself. Now, I kept thinking to myself after a while, how does this serve me? Okay, so they pull up in their nice car and I'm going, oh yeah, it must be nice. And I'm sat there judging myself, oh yeah, but I'm a fucking part-time job and I've just failed and all that stuff. How does that serve me? How does that make you feel better? How does that help you in your future? If you're going to be, say, negative towards people, think, how does me thinking this thought, how does me saying this words benefit me in the future? How does it better myself and better my trajectory? How does it get me towards my goals? It doesn't. Saying it must be nice to people, being jealous of people, being angry at people, it doesn't do that. So what do? When you see people pull up and you see people who are where you want to be, what you do is you ask them, you approach them, and you just speak to them. Ask them, how did they get there? Have you got any tips? What would you tell your 25-year-old self? When I was 25, I would always ask people that. And it's a great one. I'm telling you, you get some fucking gems of advice. Try and be more proactive and try and be more optimistic and think to yourself in the back of your head, how does this help me? How does this serve me? How does this get me towards my goals? This video is pure emotion. I had a rough day. I still done all the work I needed to do. No matter how I feel, I still do the work. A lot of the time the work makes me feel better. Like going to the sites and going to the projects. But having someone to talk to is important. Make sure you have someone to talk to when you're in business, whether it's a friend, family member, partner, it doesn't matter. Have someone to talk to, someone to lean on. It can be a lonely business. It can be a lonely journey. If you're starting out, if you're going to be pursuing this property investment, entrepreneurship, if you're like, I'm doing it, although I'm working, although I've got kids, I am doing it. If that's you, then just remember to talk to someone and don't let yourself be consumed by the bad thoughts that you have, the angry thoughts. It will get infinitely worse if you allow them. It's like pulling a thread, and then the thread just gets out of control and fucking ruins the t-shirt on it. Try and be consciously aware. Try and be aware, okay, everything's going wrong right now. I'm aware of that. I'm okay with that. Well, no, I'm not buzzing about it, but I'm okay that I'm aware of it. How am I going to do things? What steps can I take to get me out of this in the most efficient and least destructive way possible? Because if not, it will just fall apart. Okay? I hope I spoke sense in this. I wasn't going to record a video today. I've been at a really big low, but this is helping. This is helping. You're the person I talk to. Yeah. Moving forward, what I am doing, like what I mean today is like today I made sure everything was done because I knew that if these problems get solved, then it will definitely reduce the amount of stress in my life. If you ignore it or you explode or you tell people to fuck off, and you know, I've said it 10 times in this video before, but it will make it infinitely worse. Anyway, I'm holding back a lot. I'm holding back a lot from this morning. It was a really difficult one. And I know it's going to come out down the line. I'm just going to try and make sure it's a positive outcome. You know, in this business, you may not get days off. That's something that I want you to know. I wanted to do this because I wanted to be my own boss. I am my own boss. Deal packaging, you're not your own boss, but you are your own boss. You work for your clients, but you are in charge of yourself. Having said that, having lost a couple people in these past couple months, I couldn't have a day off. Too many things were happening each day. The reason being is we haven't gotten to a stage where we've offloaded stuff yet. So when you're at that stage, when you are building something big, you're building a business and you are your business. Like if you stop, the whole operation stops, right? You are your business. If that's you, just please be conscious of if something goes wrong, you may not be able to have a day off. So make sure what you're doing is something that you don't mind doing, that you like doing, even when you're feeling at your worst. So when you're having days and you feel your absolute worst, if you can still work in those conditions, then you will definitely be able to work in perfect conditions. So make sure it's something that you can do when you feel worse. Like, see this, I feel absolutely just rock bottom today. and I'm still recording the video because that makes me feel better. I'm not saying business is going to, like property investment is going to always make you feel better. Sometimes it can be the cause of something that makes you feel worse. However, I didn't mind working today because it's something at my core I'm passionate about. Make sure that's something that you're passionate about if you're going to do it. You know, I don't know what else to say. I was just going to speak of emotions today. Tomorrow's site visit day. You're going to be going around site visits. You're going to be going on Friday, site visit day. Found new deals, onboarded new clients, 2 new investment areas across the country. This year's going to be a big one. It's going to be a difficult one. It's been a really difficult one. It's probably been one of the most difficult years I've ever had in my life, but I'm making sure that I'm sharing my lessons that I learned in real time with you, because I want you to know that it's not all glitz and glam. It's not all beautiful cars and nice watches. Sometimes you're in the trenches. I'm in the trenches. I've been in the trenches. Me and my business partner are in the trenches, and making sure that we navigate ourselves out of this and make sure that we do it the most efficient and proper way possible whilst maintaining a high standard. That's something I'm going to make sure I do, and I want you to make sure that you do, okay? Stay in control and stay in touch with how you feel. Don't want to sound like a hippie. You know what I mean? Just stay in touch with how you feel, collect some thoughts. You may not get many days off, but that's okay. Just make sure that you take time each day to be yourself. And I'm going to end it on... Oh, fuck. I thought I was going to sneeze. That's today's video. I hope it wasn't too long. I hope it wasn't too boring. This is me opening up to you. I hope it helps. Tomorrow's one's going to be a fun one. Sexy panoramic shots. You know what I mean? It's going to be beautiful. If you want to see some site visits, project site visits, behind the scenes, subscribe. I'm going to share that tomorrow, and I'll see you then.